A man is made of many things. I am passionate, knowledgeable, and skilled at video games, have an eclectic taste in music. I possess amazing fashion sense and a great head of hair. In addition to all of that, I'm also a fan of anime, which might be a turnoff to some, but I don't care. I love anime. Like a lot of people my age, I grew up watching anime on Toonami and Adult Swim and became infatuated with Japan, to the point where I live in Tokyo and can speak the language. I haven't been able to talk much about anime on this channel until now, with the Lost Anime Iceberg made from Reddit user TheBestYTPer. This chart goes over all sorts of lost anime, from the well-known cases of lost media, to cancelled or abandoned projects, to the obscure. I'll give a summary of each entry and throw my own perspective on things. It's only anime, so it can't get too weird, can it? A few things first. This only goes over anime, aka animation produced in Japan, so things like lost Western, live action, or video game adaptations aren't on this chart. Second, there isn't much of a lost media scene in Japan as there is in other countries from what I've seen, probably due to differing views, the language barrier, and archaic copyright laws. Speaking of which, due to the nature of this vid, I can't show much footage, so I'll show things like video game clips or commercials, just to keep your eyes entertained. I don't want someone like Fuji TV or Toei nuking my channel or suing me to the moon. So with that foreword out of the way, kick back, grab a snack, hold your love pillow closely, subscribe to the channel, and enjoy the Lost Anime Iceberg. Doraemon 1973. Doraemon is right up there with Mario and Pikachu as one of Japan's most famous and beloved characters, and there is a lot of Doraemon lost media out there. Doraemon first aired on TV in 1973, animated by Nippon Telemovie Productions. It had 26 episodes, but a combination of poor reception from creator Fujiko F. Fujio, as well as financial issues with Nippon Telemovie Productions, led to the original Doraemon to be scrapped. Several reels and production materials were sold off to help cover their debts. While some episodes have come to the surface, plenty haven't. A letter from Hiroshi Shomazaki said that they can't release any of the 1973 versions due to legal issues. Dragon Ball Harmony Gold dub. Good old Harmony Gold, aka the jerks who cock-blocked Macross from getting localized for the longest time. They were going to bring over Dragon Ball stateside and made a really bad dub of the first 5 episodes of Dragon Ball, complete with name changes. For one reason or another, Harmony Gold lost the Dragon Ball license and couldn't complete the dub. All 5 episodes of the Harmony Gold dub have been found. JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Phantom Blood. Studio APPP made a movie for the first part of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. It was shown in theaters in 2007 and never saw a home release. While the movie was poorly received, Hirohiko Araki didn't hate the movie contrary to popular belief. The reason why it's fallen to time is that the movie is a very cut-down version of the part, not even having Best Boy Speedwagon in it. A producer died during production and funding took a hit. The studio lost the IP, meaning that Phantom Blood wouldn't be able to see a home release. When asked about it, animation director Junichi Hayama said this about Phantom Blood: "I don't want you to see me get angry and pissed off, so it's better if I don't answer this question." Sweet Joseph, what happened behind the scenes? Some footage of the movie was uploaded from a student who got it from school. One Piece Singapore dub.
He's made a robot! How did that happen?
Yo ho ho, he took a bite of your mom. A reoccurring theme in this video are dubs made in Southeast Asia. SC Asia tended to get anime much earlier than in the West back in the day, and had to dub the shows that air on TV. When America or Canada gives an anime a dub, it tends to replace the SE Asia dub for general consumption, and the SE Asia dub gets lost to time. If there is a Southeast Asia dub that's more well known than a North American dub, I'd love to know. And just a heads up, there's going to be a lot of lost Southeast Asian dubs in this video. Before the infamous 4Kids dub, Singapore had their own dub of One Piece. It was a bit too close to the Japanese script, and voice actors were constantly swapping out. It only lasted 104 episodes. All of the Singapore dub has been found. The 4Kids dub was also in danger of being lost, but thankfully it has been found. Look, the 4Kids dub of One Piece was bad, but I and many others grew up with it. I do recommend watching it because it is hilariously bad.
Yeah, Usopp already got his cooties all over the other one.
So, you're on cootie duty, huh?
Hey, what's the deal here? You looking for a pillow fight? Is that what you guys want?
Pokemon Battle Aboard the St. Anne first airing. There's going to be a lot of Pokemon in this video too. You could probably make a Lost Pokemon Media Iceberg and easily have enough content for an hour-long video. When the Pokemon anime came stateside, it was decided to start the series with a more action-packed episode, so they aired this episode first. It had different narration than normal. An interesting idea, but they just aired the series from the start anyway. Rockman 1992 anime. We all love Mega Man, and before NT Warrior or the Ruby Spear show, he almost had an anime as far back as 1992 from Ashi Productions. We know it exists because of some animation cells. It was cancelled during the planning stage. Instead, we got the Ruby Spear show. Joy. I always talk about wanting a Skyzer Arcadia or Kid Icarus port on this channel, but number 3 on that list is Mega Man Legends. Those games were awesome. And you can tell I have a type. Saki Sonobashi. I made a joke about Saki in my Blue Reflections Second Light review, so that's why I'm showing footage of that title. A supposed lost anime brought up on 4chan. Saki Sonobashi, or Go For A Punch, is an alleged anime about 9 girls stuck in a bathroom with no exit and off themselves when they realize they have no way out. Even with a large search effort, Saki Sonobashi has never been found, and most people think it was a hoax. Jinx guitarist Justin Wang made a 3-part series about Saki that helped spread awareness about the title, but again hasn't turned up anything. My personal theory is that if it does exist, it might have been a doujinshi movie that got a super limited release. Here's an idea. Take the Saki Sonobashi plot and name and make a short film for Netflix or HBO Max. If it did exist, someone is going to go looking for some money and we'll have to show some receipts. If not, then we get an official version of Saki. For what it's worth, metal band Necronomen Idol has a music video for their song Santa Sangri that was clearly inspired by the Saki legend. Super Mario Bros. Pichihime Kyushutsu Dai Sakusen. Before the Super Mario Bros. Super Show, there was an anime that was released to help promote Super Mario Bros. 2. It's a cute movie, but didn't see a wide release in Japan. Thankfully, a tape was found, and the movie is up to enjoy. Someone should get Chris Pratt and Charlie Day to redub this movie. Albert and Sydney. Another recurring theme in this iceberg are dubs of children's anime. Because of different standards of children's television, expensive price tags on the bigger kid shows, and anime largely being marketed at big kids and above outside Japan, there isn't a huge market for children's anime outside of Japan and maybe Southeast Asia. And if they do come out of Japan, they are usually filler. The Great North of Canada made a version of Doraemon called Albert and Sydney. It only aired in Barbados in the late 80s or early 90s. Someone who worked on the show, Jerome Langlois, I think I said that wrong, revealed some info on the show and uploaded the theme and clip from the show. Chikara to Onna no Yo no Naka, a 1933 short movie that is the first anime to have voiceovers. While it was a success, no known prints of the movie exist today, and sadly we cannot see the first fully voiced anime. Distrust. This is the original version of Danganronpa. The plot of Distrust is similar to Dangan, with students being forced to kill each other and find out who the killer is before they all get offed. The difference is Distrust had a way darker art style, as well as a mechanic where characters would gain or lose trust in the main character. Distrust was scrapped in favor of Danganronpa, which was a big hit. Dragon Ball original broadcast audio. Long story short, Toei didn't take the time to properly store and archive their master audio for their shows. When home media became a thing, Toei realized that they didn't have the best audio. So if you watch the Japanese Dragon Ball DVDs, you'll notice the audio for the Japanese dub isn't very good. Thankfully, fans have backed up the original audio for both Dragon Ball and Z, so now we can enjoy Dragon Ball in the best audio quality. Fist of the North Star uncensored version. You are already drunk. Fists of the North Star was a bloody comic and made for a bloody movie. Or it would have. Due to parents being concerned over the excessive violence in the movie, the Diet of Japan reached out to Toei and forced them to censor the Fist of the North Star movie. Since the movie was already finished, the edits had to be made in post. Some Italian VHSs have some of the uncensored scenes, so some of the original version of the film is online. Given the timing of the release of the movie, conflicting reports, and Toei being mum on the issue, we probably won't see the original version anytime soon. Wonder how the Diet would have reacted to the bloody shonen anime that we would get in the upcoming decades. Ghost Stories, Am I Beautiful? The legend of Kuchisake Onna is that a woman with a mask would ask you if you think she's beautiful. Depending on your answer, you would either live or get killed. The anime Ghost Stories adapted this legend into the show, but they were worried that Kuchisake's disfigured face would look like a cleft palate instead. Fuji TV pulled the episode from broadcast, and it wasn't dubbed. We do know the episode exists, but the full thing has yet to be found. And would I hit it? Without a second thought. Gothic Maid. Those are my favorite kinds of maids. This was a mech movie that had a very rough production and a very limited release. By request of director Mamoru Nagano, it would not get a disc release because it needs to be experienced on Dolby Atmos and 4K. Could you imagine if James Cameron said that Avatar: The Way of Water wouldn't be coming to streaming because it needed to be seen in theaters? Disney would cancel the sequels faster than you could say Gothic Maid. Hannah Montana. There were talks of a Hannah Montana anime at some point, but never happened. Supposedly an animator at Toei Philippines, Wasted Wisher, leaked a bunch of Dragon Ball material and was fired. I'm guessing he was a big part of the Hannah Montana anime, and with him axed, the series got canned before it even left the building, and whatever material was made for the anime is under lock and key. La Blue Girl Uncensored Version. Now we're getting to the good stuff. When La Blue Girl got licensed, the distributors got an uncensored version of the anime, so you could see some glorious anime snatch. However, due to the character Nin Nin looking like a child, and being the one who engages in some of the nasty in the movie, the distributors played it safe and removed the scenes with him in it, and by extension the naughty bits. So there isn't a known version of the anime that has both the uncensored bits and Nin Nin intact. Magical Girl Ryon-chan. This was a collaboration between China and Japan. Ryon-chan was made by Sanrio and it aired in the mid-2000s and totally vanished. The manga and some promo material is out there, but for whatever reason no one can find the anime. My guess is Ryon-chan was a bomb and Sanrio didn't think it was worth to make a home release for the series. Mon Cheri Coco. That opening is peak Showa core. This anime had an animated series that aired in the early 70s, but due to financial difficulties with the animation studio, the anime fell into obscurity, with only the opening surviving. Otogi Manga Calendar. These were animated shorts that would help teach the viewers about historical events that happened on that day. Given the time frame when the series came out, home recordings are out of the question, and more than likely the master tapes were lost to time, with only this footage found. Powerpuff Girls Z Pitch Pilot. The pilot to PPGZ showed a slightly different take on the show, with older looking girls, the professor being a boy, and there being more action. Toei has never released the pilot in full, and only some R and off-screen recordings exist. I also remember rumors of PPGZ coming to Cartoon Network in America, but that didn't happen. It would have been better than the 2016 show at any rate. That show was trash. Sazae-san. Having been on the air since 1969, Sazae-san is the longest-running anime with over 7,000 episodes and counting. The author, Machiko Hasegawa, requested that there be no merchandise for Sazae-san, and that included home media releases. So each episode of the series only airs on TV once, then never again. Sometimes there are marathons that show older episodes, but those are rare. Sazae-san came to streaming on Amazon Prime Japan in 2018. While several episodes are on the platform, plenty of episodes aren't, due to the IP owner still honoring Hasegawa's wishes, Fuji TV being really aggro with takedowns, the series being for boomers, and it having next to no fanbase outside of Japan. There isn't much of an effort to recover any lost Sazae-san episodes other than the principle of the matter. Tattoo Paragates. All those things you said running through my head. That song slaps. Anyway, former puppet duo Tattoo were going to have a cyberpunk anime movie. However, the duo broke their contract with their producer, who had a major hand in the movie's production. It didn't take too long for the anime to be cancelled. Nothing exists for Paragate other than some promo material, so I imagine it didn't get too far into production. Akihabara Deep. This was a novel from Ira Ishida that was going to have a CG series, but didn't. No reason why it was cancelled. Judging from the art and premise, it might have been too expensive to make for such a niche series. Same reason why Eltonville didn't get picked up, and I can't believe I'm making that kind of reference.
His Boba Fett. Not if I get the money first.
Suddenly I know what pity is.
Anime Tensho Cross Touhou. UFO Table produced a crossover between Anime Tensho and indie game Touhou. It was finished but hasn't seen an official release. If you don't know anything about Touhou, its creator Zun doesn't want a Touhou anime because he wants people to focus on the games. Granted, he's super cool with fan art and fan games. I think Zun was not cool with Touhou getting an anime without his involvement. Big X. One of Osamu Tezuka's series, Big X got an anime way back in 1965, and like a lot of anime from the time, not all episodes of Big X survived. Some episodes are online and can be enjoyed, but most of the series hasn't been found. Interestingly enough, one of the episodes found has the title screen in English instead of Japanese, so maybe there were plans for a Big X dub at one point. College Terra Story. This is an H game where you make it with college girls. The story behind this one is that it had a super limited release and many thought it was lost to time. Same story for Garage Bad Dream Adventure. A super obscure PC game gets released in small quantities, and someone finds a copy of it and backs it up online. In this case, a person named Do Gi uploaded the ROM for College Terra Story, and now we can all enjoy it. Crayon Shin-chan Episode 93. Episode 93 of Shin-chan only aired once in Japan and was skipped over in all the dubs. One segment has been found, and we know the names of the other two segments, but that's it. One of the segments was to promote the movie Booty Booty Kingdom, and it might make sense why a promotional segment didn't get saved, but why it took down the rest of the episode with it is very strange. Cyborg Kudo-chan canceled episodes. Kudo-chan was going to have a run of 78 episodes. 66 aired and production was going on for the remaining series, but the production company Public and Basic filed for bankruptcy. We know the names of the remaining episodes, but other than a bit of art, no production material from the remaining episodes has been found. If there was any work done on the remaining episodes, they were more than likely sold off or destroyed. Doraemon Adventures in Candyland English dub. One episode of the Doraemon anime was going to be dubbed, and it didn't happen. The rumor was Disney was worried about kids eating too much candy after watching the episode. Again, just a rumor. According to Kaiji Tang, they didn't record anything, so this episode never got dubbed in the first place. Doraemon MTV UK dub. In the early days of the anime, Doraemon was being shopped around to distributors. Unbound Creative, formerly Fuzz Entertainment, had a pilot for a Doraemon dub that was commissioned by MTV UK. A Reddit user posted the tape that their father voiced in and eventually uploaded it online. Dragon Ball Creative Productions Corporation dub. After the Harmony Gold dub failed, a dub premiered by Creative Productions Corp aired in the Philippines. Only 35 episodes and 2 movies were dubbed in English and Tagalog. Since it only aired in the Philippines, not many clips of the dub survived. Thankfully, the movie dubs were on VHS and have been archived. Dragon Ball Super Brawly deleted scenes. According to director Tatsuya Nagamine, there are scenes storyboarded for Super Brawly but had to get cut for time. In particular, scenes that would have showed some of Vegeta's past. If they were fully animated, they probably would have been on a DVD release, so those scenes probably didn't get much further than storyboarding. It would be cool to have a director's cut of the movie that shows these scenes. The Dream Machine, the late Satoshi Kon's 5th movie. It was in production, but due to financial issues and his untimely death, the movie was put in development heck. There was a push to get the movie finished, but no dice. I say finish the movie. I would love to see Kon's swan song. Evangelion 3, you cannot redo first dub. You cannot have a smooth production. Funimation dubbed the 3rd movie, but Kara wasn't satisfied with the dub and made Funimation start again. So if you wondered why there was a large gap between the Japanese and Western release of the 3rd movie, that's why. 28 minutes of the original dub is online. Guess you can redo. Galactic Patrol Lensman. The Lensman novels were adapted into an anime after Kodansha got the publishing rights in Japan. Due to laws in Japan, this meant that Kodansha could make anything for the series as long as it stayed in Japan. During this time, a Lensman movie was going to be made, but when they caught wind of the anime, Hollywood backed off the deal, which really cheesed off E.E. Smith's widowed wife. While the anime aired, the poor quality of the anime and the movie deal's failure led to the Smith estate not licensing out the series anymore. The last 5 episodes of the anime are lost, probably because Kodansha wasn't able to get a final home release out before the rights expired. Gon Togon. Gon Togon, an old anime from Jiho e Gasha. This aired in 1971. The animation isn't good, but if I was a Japanese kid in the 70s, I still wouldn't watch it. I think because of age and how little money was involved with Gon Togon, it's no surprise that there's no home release. A master copy went up for auction in Yahoo Japan, and unlike the jerk who bought Indy the Magical Kid, this user uploaded whatever footage they got to the internet. Some episodes pop up here and there. Hoshi no Koporon. Another old anime from Jiho e Gasha. This show got memed on by Niku Niku Doga users because of the show's poor quality. And because of how old the show is, the amount of stock music used in the show, and low funds at the production company, will likely never see a home release. Little Women. Unlike some of the other shows in this iceberg, this old show was actually popular, enough for some VHS and bootleg DVD releases. So you think this would be easy to find, but according to Wikipedia, some of the master tapes were damaged, but that's unverified. There is an English dub of the series, but only the first 3 episodes of the series has been found in English. Osomatsu-kun. Osomatsu-kun is a popular series now thanks to the 2015 anime. Prior to that, it wasn't so popular. With the 2015 anime blowing up the series, fans wanted to see where Osomatsu-kun came from. Thanks to fan demand, as well as the original prints being found in a warehouse, fans can now legally enjoy the classic Osomatsu-kun. PJ Berry Mogu Mogu Munya Munya. Parappa the Rappa had an anime? Why didn't I hear about this until now? Well, that name didn't help, and the star of the show was Parappa's friend, PJ Berry. That would be like making a Mario TV show and naming it Toad's Toadstool Toad Quest. It might have been a show that didn't do so well in the ratings, but thanks to Parappa's large fanbase, the entire series has been saved. Pokemon Best Wishes and XY Uchu no Hahen. Both of these are in the same boat, Pokemon movies that were only shown in planetariums in 2011 and 2013 for the former, and 2015 for the latter. Since they were presumably made for that medium, they probably don't want to go through the effort of editing them for a DVD release. Pokemon Computer Warrior Porygon English dub.
Isn't this that cartoon that causes seizures? Whoa!
The Pokemon episode where kids got seizures and had to go to the hospital. Due to that drama in Japan, Toei instantly pulled the episode from broadcast and put the anime on a 4-month hiatus. Two of the voice actors who worked on the 4Kids dub claim to have worked on the episode, but they might be misremembering things. Because of the controversy of the episode, I doubt 4Kids ever got a master tape of the episode in the first place. Star of the Giants vs. Astro Boy, one of the oldest anime crossovers. Astro Boy and baseball manga Star of the Giants got to collide in the game of, well, baseball in 1969. Probably because of the time of the anime, the fact that it was produced by two different companies, it never got a home release outside of a 5-minute clip on a Star of the Giants box set. It's speculated that Tezuka Productions has the master tape. There is an alleged English dub of the special, and if there is, that is super lost. I would imagine having a super robot play baseball against a bunch of normal dudes would be heavily skewed in favor of the robots. Aloha Yokai Watch, Rakuen, Hawaii. Ghetto ghetto po, ghetto ghetto po. One of the most surreal moments I've had in Japan was being at a club circa 2015 and seeing an entire room of adults dance perfectly to the ending theme of Yokai Watch. Yokai Watch did a collaboration with Hawaii to educate people about the history and culture of the state. Screenshots are up, but the original short hasn't been archived. Reminds me of that Street Fighter Yomigaeru Fujiwara Kyo movie I talked about in my Street Fighter Iceberg, which was a movie to educate people about the history of Nara. Anime TV de Hakken Tamagotchi. Leave a comment if you ever had a teacher take away your Tamagotchi. The first anime based on the toys aired in the late 90s in Japan as 1-minute silent shorts. There was a VHS that had many of the early episodes, but the later episodes aren't so lucky. Given how mysterious this production was, it would take a miracle to find the remaining episodes of this TV show. Apache Baseball Academy. A baseball anime that featured work from future Ghibli artist Isao Takahata. This is one of those cases where an anime did get an official release, but it was super expensive and super limited with no reprints. Thankfully, a fan got the DVD, and now we can all enjoy Apache Baseball Club. Arisa Good Luck. An anime found by fellow YouTuber Hazel, who did a big video about it. To quickly summarize, this was a small production that was sold at Comic Cat back in the day. She found a low quality rip online and set out on a quest to find a high quality version of the thing. Long story short, she got a DVD and VHS copy of the anime, and she told the story behind the small yet troubled production. Calimero original Japanese version. Calimero was an Italian character who advertised soap. Japan heard he was popular and made an anime. The series can be found easily in other languages, but not Japanese. Given the time of the show's release, and it not really taking Japan by storm, there wasn't much of a push to give the series a complete release in Japanese.
The Federal Highway Commission has ruled the Canyonero unsafe for highway or city driving.
Castle in the Sky alternate ending. Did anybody use Mixi? On that site, someone uploaded pictures from an alleged alternate ending of Castle in the Sky. The screens are from TV broadcasts of the movie. Rumors are so rampant that Ghibli had to make a comment about the alternate ending in that it doesn't exist. Still, some people are searching for it. My thoughts are that they might be from a broadcast that had to be cut down for time constraints. And given that the movie has been shown on TV at least once a year since release, people are probably misremembering things. Alternatively, it might have been from a pitch and someone took some photos behind closed doors, kinda like what happened with Saban Moon. A Twitter user called Video VHS has a 70,000 yen bounty on the thing. That's like 1 good soapland crawl or 5 crap soaplands. Chokosoku Galvion. This anime is 80s as heck. It was supposed to get 26 episodes, but sponsor Takatoku Toys went bankrupt, causing the series to only stop at 22. It was lost for the longest time, but a DVD and Blu-ray released in 2013, and now we can see the whole series. Cyborg Kuro-chan, episodes 61 to 64. Going back to Cyborg Kuro-chan, for some reason episodes 61 to 64 didn't have the Japanese version saved, probably because no one thought to record it or due to the master tapes being lost. Whatever the case, the Japanese audio for these scenes did find their way online. Doraemon, a thrilling solar car. one of the many movies for the lovable Doraemon. It aired in '92 and even had some merch for it. Some advertisements and clips of it are online, but for whatever reason this movie never got a proper home release. There must have been some legal issues and why it never got widely distributed after the movie ran its course. At the very least, the master tapes are safe, as a screener for this movie happened as late as 2020. Doraemon Kin-chan's Adventure. Another Doraemon movie. This one was produced by the National Welfare Foundation for Physically and Mentally Handicapped. That was a mouthful. It aired on TV in 1981 and took pains to make the special accessible for handicapped viewers. The companion book was found, but the movie hasn't seen a re-release. Might have to do with legal issues with the foundation or having to reproduce companion materials is why this movie has not been seen again. Doraemon Robot War. Unlike the prior two entries, this is a bootleg Doraemon film made in Taiwan from Kuko's Nest Studios, now known as Wang Film Productions. A combination of the film being a huge flop in the country and Wang Film actually being a legit production company working on major products. They probably want to keep their contracts by not releasing an unofficial Doraemon movie. If anyone watching this is in Taiwan, keep your eyes out for any bootleg tapes. That might be the only way to see this movie again. F-Zero GP Legends dub. 4Kids dubbed this series in the States, and sadly it bombed in views, only making it to 15 episodes before it got pulled. According to one of the voice actors, they did dub the rest of the series, but after it bombed there was no market for a complete release in the States, so the remaining English dub remains lost. Though according to TV Tropes, it did air in New Zealand. GP Legends bombing in viewership made Nintendo get cold feet on other adaptations of their games bar Pokemon, with it taking till 2023 to get the Mario movie. GB Legends also tanked the GBA title, F-Zero Climax, which was a massive flop in Japan and didn't leave the country. So if you want to know why Nintendo killed F-Zero, these two things were why. Gegege Kitaro Ominous Sky. The popular Gegege no Kitaro had a special movie that only aired as a screener at Toei Kyoto Studio Park. It was screened multiple times there. Some elements of the short would be recycled for episodes 66 and 67 in the anime with some differences. I think with the anime reusing the ideas from the movie, the studio probably thought it was redundant to release a movie that goes over the same material as the show. Gekisatsu Uchuken. Don't tell Vice about this manga. Gekisatsu Uchuken was serialized in a manga magazine called Lemon People. I hate that name. It was going to get an anime, with it having an audio drama as a pilot, but the anime was cancelled early into production. The main culprits being the staff working on Macross Do You Remember Love? I certainly don't. And the nature of the manga being a turnoff to sponsors. With no money and a staff spread thin, Gekisatsu Uchuken's anime was left as some storyboards and keyframes. It's said that the anime Fight Aizer 1 was inspired by Gekisatsu. Hazeidan. Another early anime that aired in the 70s and didn't see a full home release. Some episodes have popped up online, but a good chunk of the series hasn't. Not much else to add here. Gym Button. Guten Tag, we're talking about a Japanese adaptation of a German book. The anime made a fair amount of differences from the book, and it supposedly did well in viewership, but due to poor timing and the company Aiken losing rights to the book, they cannot legally redistribute Gym Button, but the soundtrack is up. Related, there was a more faithful version from the West, and funnily enough, that show has an English dub that is missing. Kuwagata Toonami. This was a Flash animated series from creator Rareko, also behind Agretsuko. Kuwagata was an online series that sadly went lost when the site that hosted the series went down. The first 30 episodes found their way online thanks to a DVD release, but the others are still lost. Surprised this series wasn't uploaded to Nico Nico or YouTube. Also, how did a human woman and a stag beetle man breed? Actually, you know what? Don't answer that question. I've seen enough weird stuff online. Kyoryu Shoujo Gakko. Akira, a person who directed many Shin-chan movies, made a comedy comic about a dinosaur and a girl being in school. There were 10 episodes made for Nico Nico and YouTube, then went down due to Netflix making their own adaptation of the series. After being offline for a bit, Akira just said screw it and uploaded the 2017 series online in 2022. Kyubi no Kitsune to Tobimaru. I found the Delgo of anime. This movie was shown in one theater in Japan in 1968. Distributor Daiei Films flubbed the promotion of this movie and lost a ton of money. Director Gentaro Nakajima left film for politics, but kept the negatives of the film until his passing, where his second son would inherit them. Then his second son got arrested for a bribery scandal, and he committed Sudoku in 2001. Where the negatives are these days are unknown. A 66mm of the film has been found and screened here and there, but never uploaded online. Lupin the Eighth. In the long-running Lupin the Third series, one special was planned called Lupin the Eighth, which would have focused on the descendants of Lupin and friends, but legal issues with the LeBlanc state forced the series to get canned, but some art has surfaced. Since a ton of money was already put in the project, Lupin the Eighth was salvaged as Inspector Gadget of all things. That would explain why a weird show like Gadget looked so much better than everything else at the time, and Gadget looking almost like Zenigata. Here's an idea, a new Inspector Gadget, but it focuses on Penny, who looks like Fujiko but acts like Lupin. That would be, well, I don't know if it would be good, but it would be a thing. Moomin. This Finnish series is super popular in Japan. I see the characters everywhere. Japan made an anime in 1969. Zuyo Enterprise got the series and production was a mess, with studios changing twice and creator Tove Jansson, I think I said that wrong, disapproving of changes made to her characters. Episodes from Tokyo movie Shinsha have been found, but episodes from Mushi Pro aren't so lucky. There are some official releases and a YouTuber uploaded some episodes, but a good chunk of the series is missing. Don't get too excited if you find a Moomin anime online. The Shin Moomin series released in 1972.
Check it out. I did some science to me portal gun, and now it's also a real gun. I've got a real gun, Morty.
Pikmin anime. An animated Pikmin short popped up on YouTube in 2010 with a ton of hits, but no context behind it other than it was made overseas. It's speculated that it's a sequel to a fan animation made in China that was made way back in 2006. I think this might have been a pitch to get a Pikmin anime to get made. Related, Nintendo has been trying to spread their properties into other mediums, with the Mario movie being the Trojan horse, so to speak. Star Fox and Zelda had shows planned for Netflix until a broken NDA killed those projects. And I think those Kid Icarus shorts might have been testing the waters. What Nintendo series would you like to see adapted into a show or movie? Let me know in the comments. Pokemon 3, the movie, first draft. The Pokemon 3 movie we know today is not the first version of the movie. The late Takashi Shudo wrote a script that would have gone over how the Pokemon world came to be, and spent the better half of a year promoting that plot. It sounded interesting, but the producers shot it down. Quote, "A story where a bunch of minerals gain consciousness and come to life won't be a hit." Well, that didn't work for Ninja Gaiden 3 where you had to fight dinosaurs, so that producer might have had a point. Pokemon 3D Adventure, Mew o Sagase. Another one of those anime that only aired at a theme park kind of lost media, this time being shown at the temporary Poke Park in Nagoya, Japan, aka Buji Tokyo. Other than a few screeners past 2005, Search for Mew hasn't seen a release for whatever reason. I say drop it online, Pokemon fans will lap anything up. Pretty Guardian Sailor Moon, The Miracle 4D. At Universal Studios Japan, this short film was aired. It was a big hit, but it was only a temporary attraction that got replaced by, well, Shrek 4D when its run was over. Between the 4D stuff and USJ probably having some interest in the film, there hasn't been a release of The Miracle since. Can we get a Sailor Moon beat 'em up with these models? That would be pretty sick. Rail Wars, Kurizawa Yori Satsui o Nosete. This was going to be a sequel to the light novel and anime of the same name. However, constant delays and the mixed reception to the Rail Wars series led to the game getting canned. I guess you could say production went off the rails. Ranpol, a once lost gag anime based off a manga. It aired in 1984 and suffered poor ratings. Out of nowhere in 2021, the entire series got a DVD release. Probably a case of someone liking the series and didn't want to see it lost to time. Sennin Bodaku. This is what your grandparents cranked it to. Sennin Bodaku was the first ecchi anime to be produced, and it has a legacy to match. While most of the series is online, 2 episodes are missing from the official releases, and damn, she mad thick. Toriko captured the barbarian Ivy, the pilot movie to the once popular Toriko series. What's interesting about this one is that the animation studio behind the pilot hasn't been confirmed, either being UFO Table or Toei. The pilot obviously worked as Toriko did get a series made by Toei, but the pilot hasn't been seen ever since the original screeners. And I have to say, Toriko's body goals. Also, that, my friends, is one of the best mullets in fiction. Adventures of the Little Koala, Japanese audio. A children's anime from the 80s. While popular in the United States and Middle East, it probably did not take off as well in Japan as the suits would have liked. Due to that and poor storage of anime back then, the Japanese audio of this series has not been found, though you can see the anime in other languages if you're curious. Alive, the final evolution. I feel so alive for the very first time. This manga from Tadashi Kawashima and Adachi Toka was going to get an anime from Studio Gonzo, but Gonzo went defunct. How much work went into the live adaptation is unknown, and what an ironic title. Anpanman 1979. The beloved children's show Anpanman has been on the air since 1988 and was parodied in the hit comic One Punch Man. Before the 88 anime, there was an attempt to get the anime off the ground in 1979. This anime aired a few times past the original air date, but it didn't take off. It's surprising a series as popular as Anpanman hasn't had its first anime archived. Even NHK called for more information on it. Given that the series is for young kids, they probably don't want to confuse kids with an old series that doesn't reflect the current show. A comment on the Lost Media page showed that the pilots did get Greek and Arabic dubs that are online. Wherever the Japanese version is, I don't know. Ape Escape English dub. Back when Sony made games that weren't mid-tier award bait, Ape Escape got a 3-part CG anime that got dubbed into English and aired on Nicktoons Network. For some reason, the third short's English dub is lost. Whoever recorded the first 2 shorts must have missed the third short, and there isn't much interest from Sony or Nick to release the third. Bakugan Mectanium Surge. I used to sleep with my TV on when I lived in the States, so I woke up often to Bakugan at one point. This season of Bakugan got canned in Japan in favor of Zoobles. What the heck are Zoobles? I've never heard of this until now. Whatever, I'm getting sidetracked. The Viet release of this season had a narrator talk over the Japanese dub, so it could be heard that way. It wasn't until 2018 where the Japanese dub with Chinese subtitles appeared randomly on streaming service Bilibili in China. And if I said that wrong, I don't care. Bakuso Kyodai Let's and Go English dub. Is that Robert Garcia? This series was exported to the Philippines in the year 2000 to capitalize off the mini 4WD toy line. Like a lot of English dubs from Southeast Asia, it was never properly archived. It's such a niche series for a toy line that never went anywhere outside of Asia, so it's no surprise that there has been much of a search to find this dub. You can see the series in Spanish and Indonesian. Bible Black Latin dub. We can't have an anime iceberg without Bible Black in it. According to a Spanish news site, there were rumors of a Latin America Spanish dub of the anime, but there's conflicting reports. Director Oscar Flores said that Bible Black was dubbed alongside another anime, Darling, but the timeline of events don't match. If it does exist, no voice actors have said anything about it because no one wants their career tied to smut. And I'll bring it up here too, Bible Black was going to have a live-action adaptation. It got cancelled because there was no way a Bible Black movie was going to be better than entertainingly bad. I made a short about that topic, and hey, YouTube, I make shorts. Actually show them to people. Bit the Cupid. One of those shows that fell under the radar. Bit the Cupid was a show that looked like old Namco Famicom art come to life. It's the closest thing to Chubby Cherub the anime, which was already based on another anime. About half the series is up on YouTube, and the English dub is pretty much gone with the wind. I'd rather have Pit the Cupid instead. Bubblegum Crisis Tokyo 2041. A sequel to the remake of Bubblegum Crisis. It was announced and put into pre-production. Supposedly production stalled out due to the creative team wanting key members to reprise their roles. But after ADV went belly up in 2009, it's thought that the series is dead. If there were any production materials, they have not been found. Cleopatra the Queen. Another erotic anime and one of the early ones to show nudity, violence, and full penetration. This is true love we're making. Given the time this movie was released, it didn't have a huge market push and was a flop. However, a DVD was released in 2018, and Discotek released the movie with English subtitles in 2020. There are some references to an English dub, but there hasn't been any proof that a dub existed. Dr. Zen, also known as Kaito Pride. This old show was never properly archived or released on home video. 2 episodes were remade and are up on YouTube, but most of the series is lost. Eagle Sam. Of all the things to base the show off of, you based it off of a mascot for the 1984 Olympic Games. This character was big in Japan at the time, and after the Olympic Games ended, the series went into obscurity. Presumably, issues with the Olympic Committee is why this show remains obscure and lost outside of a few episodes. Also, this guy is the current head of the IOC, and what a fitting name. Golden Kids. Well, this is a new one. This series could only be seen via an iOS app where you had to pay $3 to unlock each episode. And this show had 100 episodes planned. If they kept this model up, it would have cost $300 for the whole series. My flight to Singapore cost less than that. This scheme fell apart and only 2 episodes were released, with the second episode being lost and only the English dub of the first episode remaining. Harimogu Harley. Sonic This Ain't. This kids show was supposed to be the rival to kids show Shimajiro. We know the staff behind the show, and one episode was uploaded to Nico Nico, but NHK has been super aggressive with takedowns, so maybe they are embarrassed by the series? Jikoku Doji. This was supposed to be a spin-off to Gegege no Kitaro that was going to be released in the mid-90s. Masumi Kaneda has been open about the pilot, posting a few screenshots and giving more information about how pilots were made back then. He claims that Doji was passed over in favor of a reboot of Kitaro, and Kaneda being unable to release the pilot presumably due to legal issues. I also found out the word for diarrhea in Japanese is geri, and a coworker made the joke Gegegeri no Kitaro. Just thought you should know. Joka. Man, what a bunch of jokas. This was a doujinshi animation released in 1989 and had a few screeners. Allegedly, the animation was good for an unofficial movie of Gegege no Kitaro, and because of that, there isn't a home release. A Twitter user did show that they have a VHS copy of Joka, but won't upload it out of fear of Japanese lawyers going after them. So we know that it exists and at least one copy is out there, so Joka is just out of reach of being found. Kirin Ashito no Calendar, the same company that makes drinks that cause me to awkwardly hit on girls at the bar. Kirin made anime shorts hosted by a cat and mouse who went over various historical events. It aired from 1980 to 84. A few episode names have been found, but majority of the series has been lost. Little Lulu and Her Little Friends. Another adaptation of a foreign work. Little Lulu's anime aired in Japan and quickly went out of print. The whole series can be found in various languages, just not Japanese. Probably a case of production not properly saving the Japanese audio, and there not being a huge push for this to get reprint in Japan. Midnight Horror Show production video. The show Midnight Horror School was a kids series that could easily be found, but it had a production video that was online and was very rare. Randomly, in early 2022, a burner account uploaded the production video, and well, that's about it. Outlaw Star Toonami edits. When Outlaw Star aired on Toonami, it had to be heavily cut down to fit into the standards of primetime children's television, so that meant no swearing, no guns, no fan service. Anime News Network actually had news articles about how much was cut from the Toonami broadcast. And I guess there was a recut of the Hot Springs episode that showed in some places but not in the States, because it didn't take up enough time. Some footage of the Toonami edits are online if you're curious. I'd imagine there isn't a huge push to find the Toonami cuts because you could just watch the series uncut online. Still, it is fun to see what elder weebs had to deal with back in the day. Pingu in the City pilot episode. Sometime in 2017, a pilot for a Pingu reboot was made. It was getting screened around for a full series, but nothing came of it. We know it exists thanks to Kitada Katsuhiko uploading some artwork. I think legal issues with Pingu's copyright holders make it impossible to show the pilot publicly, and there were too many P's in the segment. Pink Crow's music video. Long before Vocaloids and the Gorillaz, Pink Crows hit the scene in the 80s with a cartoon band. Unlike some other entries on this iceberg, there's actually a lot of information about the Pink Crows available online. The missing link is the music video for the song Kanojo wa Pinkish that was made by Sunrise. And what a title. A Yahoo page talked about the video, but no one can actually find the thing. This was probably a project that was aiming to be the next big thing, but didn't take off. If anything from this video can get found, I would bet on this. It just feels like something with this much info can't be too hidden, can it? Also, who'd win in a fight, the Pink Crows or the Black Crows? My bet is on the Pink Crows because the Black Crows are trash. Pokemon Battle of Quaking Island and Pokemon It's New Year's Eve. Two Pokemon episodes that were cancelled for different reasons. The former was cancelled as it dealt with earthquakes right after the 2004 Chuetsu earthquake, so production opted to cancel the already finished episode while the tragedy was fresh in Japan's mind. As for the latter, it was supposed to be a clip show to air on New Year's 1997, but the show was still on hiatus after the seizure incident and did not air. Shimajiro English dub. A popular kids show from educational company Benesse. Supposedly Canadian company Cineair made a dub for the late 90s series, but reps from Benesse confirmed that a dub never happened. They did say a later series, Shimajiro no Wow, had 2 episodes dubbed into English to pitch to distributors, however. Sabakasu Puchi. Say it with me now, an old anime from the late 60s that was made, but due to the time when it was made, it wasn't properly archived and never received a home release. The only thing that survived was a vinyl release that had the theme and some artwork. Stand By Me Doraemon Philippines English dub. Another Filipino dub of an anime, this time the 2014 film. Since the film got a dub from Bang Zoom Entertainment, there was little reason to keep this dub around. I can imagine the disappointment of being the guy who voiced Doraemon or Nobita and thinking, yeah, this is going to be my big break. I'm going to be the next big voice actor, just to have your movie totally buried underneath another dub from a country that doesn't care much for the property. I'd be a little sad too. Totoku Hamtaro. Before Hamtaro graced Toonami, a VHS pilot was made in 1999 that had several differences between it and the final product. A fan site bought a VHS that went up for sale on Yahoo Japan auctions, and now we can enjoy the original, uncut Hamtaro. And you have to admit, the guy is pretty cute. Tsukihime Remake, original PC build. The road to the Tsukihime remake was a long one, being announced in 2008 and not releasing until 2021. The blame largely goes to Fate Grand Order becoming a huge hit and Type Moon's resources going to that. The Tsukihime remake was supposed to have a PC release, but only it came to consoles with no PC release at time of writing. I do feel like it will come to PC eventually. Hopefully they get the second part of the remake out soon so I don't have to see Melty Blood players mauled at having Fate characters in Melty Blood. Air Cruel version. You like creepy pastas? Then here's one for you. There's an alleged version of visual novel Air that has a lot more blood than normal. It's rumored that a doujinshi group published it, and whatever copies got out in the wild were quickly confiscated by Key. There's a few pieces of art floating around claiming to be from the Cruel version of Air, but anybody can use Photoshop. There is a version called Summer Death that does exist, but it isn't the alleged Cruel version. Given that Air is already a depressing novel, what sicko wants to make it more depressing? Chimpui English dub, one of Fujio F. Fujiko's lesser-known works. This show got broadcast on Disney Channel Asia in 2012, which is a bit late for a show that was made in 1989. Due to the obscurity of the show and probably low ratings, the dub is lost. You can find a Vietnamese version, however. Cowboy Bebop Brazilian Portuguese dub. Just let me say, Bebop is one of my favorite shows ever. I even cosplayed as Spike a few times. According to a Portuguese fandom page, the series never got a proper dub in that language until 2021, when they got two dubs, one from Funimation and another from Netflix. The Funimation version was going to release, but Netflix quietly put their version up, burying the Funimation version. What's interesting is that both releases share voice actors but doing different roles. I had to translate the page from Portuguese, so hopefully I got that right. Related, Spike voice actor Steve Blum said that he recorded for a Bebop video game that never got localized, more than likely the PS2 game. Hey Sega, if you could make a Bebop game play like a Yakuza game, that would be the best game ever. Certainly the best anime game ever. Dr. Slump and Aurel Chan with Queen Millennia. A crossover between Aurel Chan and Queen Millennia that aired in the early 80s. Presumably due to unfamiliarity with both series in the West and the age of the special, not too many people knew about it. In 2020 the special was found, and with a version with subs being found later that year. Dragon Ball 9/11 Interruption. A classic example of a Mandela effect. In Brazil, it was common to watch Dragon Ball Z in the mornings, but when 9/11 happened, the feed was cut due to that news. People from Brazil swear up and down that the news interrupted Dragon Ball Z, but a search found that the show wasn't broadcasting that day. Dream Dimension Hunter Fandora English dub, an old 3-part OVA created by Go Nagai. While it isn't hard to find in Japanese, it got dubbed into English. A small clip is on the Lost Media wiki, but it is unavailable. No voice actors have claimed to work on the show, and because of the timing of the OVA, it couldn't find much of a market, and whatever VHSs were made weren't a lot, and probably didn't survive the 80s. According to Wikipedia, the show did get a DVD release in 2001, which I found on Rakuten for almost $3,000. Yeah, no thank you. Hanoka, the DVD cut. An early Flash show that was definitely an early Flash show. Despite universally negative reviews, Hanoka got a DVD release, and thanks to archivists, we can now see the show in all its, glory? Hero Man, English dub. Stan Lee made an anime. It was a collaboration between Bones and Disney's Sierra Vista Studios. It aired in Japan and was supposed to get a dub, but due to creative differences between Studio Bones and Sierra Vista, this didn't happen. As a result, Hero Man never received an official dub other than a small promo. I wrote a short about this for Meepon, go give them some love too. Kaiketsu Zorori, English dub. This children's show got a dub that aired on Cartoon Network Philippines in 2010. Other than a promo and some clips of the movie, most of the series' English version is lost. Kirin Monoshiri-kan. Kirin made an earlier attempt at an educational anime from 1975. Each episode was a few minutes long and had a total of 1,560 episodes, with only 2 episodes being found. Given the age of the show and Kirin making beverages for adults, they probably have no interest in revisiting this show or their other show. If I had a nickel for every time Kirin made a historical anime, I'd have 2 nickels, which isn't a lot, but it's weird that it happened twice. Maruhi Gekki Ukiyo-e. I'll Have What She's Having, an early adult anime that was a financial bomb, only airing in theaters for 10 days. It did get a home release, but that was the censored version. Given the obscurity of the movie and poor reception, I can't imagine many copies being made. A reel was sold back in the 80s for 44,500 yen, so maybe it will show up on Rakuten or Yahoo at some point. Maze Bakunetsu Jiku. Maze is a light novel series from Satoru Akahori. It has an OVA and TV series, and those are easy to find. What has been found is the sequel movie. According to this post on the Lost Media forums, the series was censored in the home releases. So maybe something happened behind the scenes of Maze and why the series got hosed down. My Melody's Magical Adventure. A series that's popular in Japan but nowhere else is Onagai My Melody. There have been attempts to bring the series outside of Japan, and it was broadcast on Cartoon Network Philippines. We do know the cast, so the dub definitely happened, but why it wasn't saved, we don't know. No Man pilot episode. An Osamu Tezuka manga that was supposed to have an anime, and to get the anime off the ground, Mushi Pro made a 12-minute pilot. A few stills have been released, and screeners for an alleged duplicate reel have happened. Mushi Pro was also trying to get another show, Zero Man, off the ground, but a lack of cash killed that show, and was one of the reasons why No Man never got picked up. Overheat Over Heart music video. To promote the anime Cutie Honey universe, buying a CD for the anime would get you a card that had a code to see an animated music video for one of the songs on the album. The site is still up, but the site to the music video is down, and no one managed to archive the music video when it was still alive. I did find this picture of the video, so clearly hunters have their priorities straight. RoboCrosser. You're watching RoboCrosser on Jetix. Not really. Telecom and Jetix had a plan for a RoboCrosser anime that was going to air in 2009, and they had a pilot screened at the Tokyo International Anime Fair in 2008. It was screened there and never again, as the show got cancelled. RoboCrosser was going to air as early as 2004, but entered development limbo. Telecom did share some storyboards, but those weren't archived. Samurai Pizza Cats Brazilian Portuguese dub. This Tatsunoko show did air in Brazil and had a Portuguese dub, which has sadly fallen to time outside of one episode. Gonna assume home recording steps weren't readily available when the show aired, and now the master tapes are just sitting somewhere in Brazil. Shiden English dub. The last show worked on by the creator of Speed Racer, Kimio Ikeda. He wanted to bring back car anime for a younger generation with Shiden. Since the show was going to be a Japanese and American collaboration, it had an English dub for the pilot, which hasn't been seen. Sadly, due to the passing of Ikeda-san in 2007, the project fizzled out, and the team moved on to other things. Suzumi Bune. This is what people cranked their hogs to before WW2, as it was the first H animation. Sadly, police seized the film before it could be finished, and it never properly released. The Tokyo Police donated the remaining film to the National Film Center in 2000, and it hasn't been screened since. Given the age of the movie, it would take a miracle if any prints survived. Remember, the police are not your friends. The Cradle of Thorns, a visual novel released in 2014 that didn't have much interaction. You had to play every day or use microtransactions to unlock the story. The servers are down and other games from the developer Koyo and Pleat are gone, but thankfully YouTube channel Doll Prince has all 9 chapters on their YouTube. As far as I know, this game is as complete as it's gonna get. The Slayers Fox Kids version. Way back in the day, Fox outbid Toonami on Slayers, Escaflown, and Magical Knight Rayearth. Lisa Ortiz, who voiced Lena, was called back in to redo some lines. Somewhere along the chain of command, Fox canceled the airings of the Slayers, so the Fox Kids version of the show remains a mystery. Given the amount of edits Escaflown had to go through to air, and they ended up pulling the plug on that show, Fox just didn't see hardcore anime as the direction of their network. In the end, Fox sat on the rights to those shows, much to the disappointment of Jason DeMarco and young anime fans across America. Bay Warriors, Bay Raiders. This spin-off of Beyblades never made it to broadcast in Japan. A bit weird given the show was made in Japan. Whatever the case, the Japanese dub was lost until it appeared online. Detective Conan Fox Kids pilot. In the year of 2000, aka the year of our Lord and Savior, Marvel vs. Capcom 2, Fox announced they would be getting some new shows, one of which was Detective Conan. A pilot was allegedly made for the network, with some changes like Ron Mori being renamed to Rebecca Lacey. There are conflicting reports of a pilot being made at all. My guess is Fox might have taken a look at the material of the series, realized that a kids show focused on solving murders wasn't going to be able to air at all even with extensive edits, and passed it up. I've read that someone might have gotten Conan and Flint the Time Detective confused. Conan would eventually air on Adult Swim, where it crashed and burned. Seriously, how do you have a series run for that long and the character still stuck being a kid? He was just aged back into being Shinichi at some point. Oh yeah, there was a Singapore dub of Conan. It's partially found. Kaiji Hakai Rokuen original scene. Kaiji, a man who wishes his mullet was as good as Toriko's. In the second episode of the anime, there's a spot of Kaiji imagining himself being thrown around by strong gusts of wind. In the manga, it was him drowning instead. The Tohoku earthquake hit Japan a month before the second episode was supposed to air. It was altered to wind in the show to separate itself from the tsunamis that hit Japan at the time. Given the timing of the episode, there's next to no chance of the original version of Kaiji falling to water being seen. Jonkin Man, English dub. Jonkin Man, saving the day. That's not how the theme song goes at all. This kids show aired on Nick India with an English dub. One voice actor, Sharanya Menon, said that they worked on the show. But other than that, not much else is known about the dub. Who would win in a rock, paper, scissors fight? Jonkin Man, Gon, or Alex Kidd? Let me know in the comments. Shoujo Tsubaki deleted scenes. The Japanese equivalent to Cannibal Holocaust. Shoujo Tsubaki is brutal, exploitative, grotesque, and not for the faint of heart, but I do recommend it for those who like dark art. The story of this movie is a long one, taking forever to make and getting banned in Japan for 14 years. There was a rumor of a deleted scene, but an interview cleared the air. The only things that were cut were some narration and a fade to black from the theatrical run. If you buy a copy of the movie these days, it will be the uncensored version. Mojako English dub. That is a terrible name for a website. Another Fujiko F. Fujio property that got a dub for CN Asia, and like all children's anime in this video, it never got properly backed up or recorded. The sad part is about a show like Mojako, as well as other children's dubs brought up in this video, is that the dub is probably saved somewhere in some archive. There's just no demand to release it, or if there is demand, legal issues are keeping it under lock and key. That's just the sad part of lost media. Suits would rather sit on something forever than risk a few bucks over an old series. Olgon Bat English dub. Prior to Superman or Batman, Olgon Bat was one of the first Japanese superheroes that was created in 1930. Bat got an anime in 1967, and that's fine. It came to the States and Australia as Phantoma Phantom Man, Warrior of Justice. The series never made it to air in the States, but it did air in Australia. I can't imagine it was a big hit, and given the time when it aired, home recording setups weren't readily available, and all that remains is a very brief and very low quality clip. Vibri on Vusic. Anyone remember Vib Ribbon? I remember seeing it on Cinematech on G4 way back in the day. The star of Vib Ribbon, Vibri, did a guest feature on the show Vusic Countdown 20, where Vibri would introduce the next song on the list. We have an image of the event, but any footage has yet to be discovered. Monster Kid English dub. Brand new, eh? Monster Kid was a manga from Fujiko F. Fujio, and it had a dub for Disney XD Malaysia. And other than that, nothing. The anime was made in 1981 and landed in Malaysia in 2014. My guess that this was quick and cheap filler for Disney XD Malaysia until they could get better shows on the network. That might be why there's no promo material for the dub other than a small advertisement. One Piece, Funimation Toonami edit. Level 8 only had 4 entries, so I threw this in here to give it 5. When 4Kids lost the rights to One Piece, Funimation picked up the slack. When Toonami aired the Funimation version, Funimation kept in some of the edits from the 4Kids dub, such as calling Zoro, Zolo. When Toonami was cancelled the first time, Funimation redid these episodes to be faithful to the Japanese version. I don't think there's much of a push to find the Funimation Toonami edit, partly because not many people know about it, nor want to acknowledge the changes 4Kids made to the series. I remember coming home from Homecoming in 2007 and watching this version of One Piece on Toonami. Needless to say, I did not lose my V card that night. Tensai Bakuban Colored Pilot. Before the 1971 anime, there was a color pilot for gag comic Tensai Bakuban. It was supposed to air on Nippon TV in 1968, but got pulled from air and hasn't been seen since. Bakubon got a series off the ground in 1971, and that pilot has been preserved. I guess legal issues, age, and the likelihood that the 68 pilot doesn't represent what the series would become means that this pilot will remain lost. Gonna be real, I've lived in Japan for 7 years at this point and seen this dude around, and I had no idea what the series was called until now. TheBestYTPer OVA. When you research Lost Media, most things you find have something to confirm it existed, like a logo or some documentation or even an interview. Not the case with this OVA. A Discord user claimed to have seen a TheBestYTPer OVA, which if you don't know, TheBestYTPer was a sequel to the PS1 game TheBestYTPer. If there was an OVA, no one knows anything about it. The Wikipedia article has nothing on it, and the Japanese wiki has even less info. My only theory is that the OVA could have been a pre-order bonus to something, or it was one of those things that just appeared in stores and no one noticed it. Until we get concrete proof on the thing, its existence is unconfirmed. Yatterman English dub. The 2008 remake of Yatterman had an English dub that aired on Cartoon Network Southeast Asia. Gloria Ansel was allegedly Doronjo, and that's all we know about the dub. The only thing I could find was See in Asia having a page for Yatterman, so we do know it aired. Beyond that, there's no recordings, promotional material, nothing. Similar to the Monster Kid dub, it was probably just quick filler for the channel, and when it ran its course, they were all too ready to abandon Yatterman. Surprised the 2008 anime never got a proper dub from Viz or Funimation. I used to main Yatterman and Mega Man Volna in Tatsunoko vs. Capcom. If we can't get a proper Marvel vs. Capcom 4, can we please get a new Tatsunoko vs. Capcom? Evangelion live action footage. I said there were 5 entries on this layer and no live action adaptations, but I'm breaking the rules here because this one is personal to me. On the GameFAQs boards back in 2005, either right before or during Evangelion's run on Adult Swim, someone linked a YouTube video showing footage of an alleged live-action Evangelion movie. All I can remember is some text stylized after the text seen in the end of Evangelion, and it cut to a scene of a long-haired woman, presumably Misato, lying in bed. Searching for this vid on YouTube or Nico Nico yielded no results in English or Japanese. Again, this was a video from 2005, linked from a random GameFAQs user on the Adult Swim anime forum saying this was legit footage from an Evangelion movie that I saw when I was like 12. The live action movie was in pre-production from 2003 until it got iced in 2011. Nothing was said about any filming done on the movie. My only guess is that if this thing truly existed, it was either test shots that got leaked and no one noticed, or more than likely it was footage from something else claiming to be Evangelion. Most likely this is just me getting memories confused, but hey, that's just a part of Lost Media. And that is the Lost Anime Iceberg finished, and I hope you enjoyed it. I really do feel like a lot of the stuff in this video is just sitting somewhere in some storage or collection never to be seen again, and it won't be seen again for whatever legal reasons are out there. And I can only imagine the sadness of the people who worked on these shows, like be it the creators or animators, like knowing that they put so much time, effort, and money into a project for it to be never to be seen again. But who knows, maybe something like, say, Saki Sanabashi or the Yatterman dub isn't already online, like under a different name or in a format that we just haven't found yet. Or maybe someone watching this video will be like, yeah, oh yeah, we have that on VHS, might as well throw it up on YouTube for a few bucks. But I don't want to end this video on a downer note. I want this video to be a call to arms. Keep searching. Maybe someone out there watching this video will find the next big discovery in the Lost Media scene, and that'll be really sick. So we'll just leave it at that. A few more thoughts before we wrap up here. I gotta give a shout out to TheBestYTPer for making this iceberg chart. It was really nice, really well laid out, and it was very fun to research this stuff. And of course, I gotta give a shout out to the Lost Media Wiki for being a treasure trove of information. And of course, shouts to you for making it all the way to the end of the video. I get comments here and there asking for a new iceberg video, and well, here you go. I've noticed the iceberg trend has really died off in the past year, but hey, who knows, maybe this one will do well in views, and if it does well in views, well, we'll get more iceberg videos in the future. So of course, if you want to see more iceberg charts or just want to see more videos from me, you know what to do. Hit the subscribe button and the bell bell for notifications on future videos. And I'm very active on the social media, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, @ZMangs, you know what it is, and we'll see you in the next video. Later everybody, take care.